Norway, land of forest, fjord and ice. Windswept North Sea to the west, spine of towering mountains to the east, Arctic wilderness to the north, settled land for the taking to the south. This part of the world has some of the most fascinating history of any country on Earth. Fishermen, reindeer herders, hunters and farmers have long called this land home, eking out an existence here since the end of the last ice age. Of course, harsh landscapes breed hardy people. For thousands of years, daring bands of traders, warriors and settlers have headed south from here in search of riches or a new life. From Bronze Age shipmasters to mercenaries in the armies of Rome. And, of course, most famously of all, Vikings. Yet, evidence of this long bygone era, more than 1,000 years before the present, is especially difficult to come by. Outside of the heroic sagas recorded in Iceland in the 12th and 13th centuries, the written histories all come from those lands who suffered the attacks of this sea-borne menace, recording them accordingly as little more than vicious pagans. So much so that when archaeological discoveries are made, they provide vast amounts of new information on our early medieval forebears, left out of the written record. It's been over 100 years since the last Viking ship burial was uncovered in Norway, during a time when archaeology was really still in its infancy. Now, in 2020, finally a fully intact Norse longship has been located, holding the potential to alter what we know about Norse ships and society forever. In June, in a truly historic archaeological investigation, Norway's first excavation of a Viking ship burial in over 100 years will begin. Let's take a look. When archaeologist Nikolai Nikolaisen arrived at the Gjellestad farm in southern Norway in the summer of 1880, following reports of a Viking Age discovery in a burial mound, he was amazed by what he found. Considerable mounds of earth can still be found all over this region of southern Norway and beyond, once containing the remains of the elites of this region. Many of them long since looted in antiquity. Nestled in fjords overlooking the seaways so vital to life here, arteries of commerce and war that brought goods in and sent warriors out, linking these mountain valleys to the outside world. Most were looted long ago, and the contents of many others have long since eroded away due to the acidic conditions in the soil. After getting down to the heart of the Gjellestad mound, however, the dragon-headed prow of a fully intact longship jutted out of the earth. Living proof and relic of the Viking Age. The unique preservative qualities of the soil in this part of the world, keeping much of this vessel intact. Along with the ship was found everything to help this man into the afterlife. Clothing, dogs, horses, and even a peacock, testament to the far-reaching trade network utilised by Norwegians during the 9th century. Other ships had been found before this one, the Tune in 1868 being the most important. But none had been found in such amazing condition. And upon entering the air of our world for the first time in 1,000 years, 19th century antiquarians could do little to preserve them. The Gjellestad vessel became a media sensation, sparking interest in the early medieval past all over the globe. A reconstruction was even sent on a cross-Atlantic voyage to the Chicago World Fair in 1893. Then, a decade later, arguably an even more impressive find was made at Oseberg. Another great leader had been buried here. This time, a woman. Again, in clear view of the waterways that cemented their power. The Gjellestad and Oseberg vessels remain arguably the two most important finds in Viking Age archaeology. For the first time, the sagas had been corroborated in the real world, and nowhere else were actual ships found, just imprints in the earth. Over the next 100 years, many other ship burials were excavated in Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Britain, and all over the Baltic. But only Norway has the unique soil properties to actually preserve the vessels themselves. If only we could see the ship at Sutton Hoo. And not just the imprints in the soil that remain there. However, none of these excavations used modern techniques. The field has come a long way since then. We now know that over 300 ships and vessels are buried under the Norwegian landscape, dating all the way back to the primordial pre-Roman times of old. And that's only the ones that have been located. Just a handful of these are regarded as true ship burials from the height of the Viking Age. Now, in 2020, the greatest age of discovery ever yet seen in archaeology, cutting-edge laser technology known as LiDAR is being used to penetrate deep under the ground. All over the world, amazing discoveries are being made. In remote corners of Central America, revealing entire previously unknown cities in pristine wilderness. Be sure to check out this documentary I made on the subject over on my main channel, History Time. And in Norway, for the first time in 100 years, ships from the Viking Age are being found. In recent years, LiDAR has been used to locate another ship at Bor. But most amazing of all is the ship discovered at Gjellestad in Østfold County. This is a truly historic landscape, and clearly a place of importance to ancient Norwegians. At least 10 burial mounds belonging to powerful warrior elites, as well as 5 massive longhouses, have been located here. Once used to feast the warriors of this region. With evidence of occupation dating all the way back to Roman times, long before the Viking Age. Landscapes like this one once stretched all over Scandinavia and beyond, long since overtaken by agriculture and modernity. Here, however, the past has survived. Paradoxically, it's only because of modern agriculture ploughing away the top of the Gjellestad mound leaving the ship at its heart just beneath the surface that it was spotted by LiDAR. Larger, intact mounds cannot yet be penetrated, though scientists are working on it. Unfortunately, at least 8 other burial mounds here have already been destroyed by ploughs at some point in the past. Their contents lost forever. At just 50 centimetres beneath the ground, the digital visualizations provided by LiDAR show the clear outline of a large 20-metre longship from over 1,000 years ago. Further non-invasive techniques are being used to determine which portions of the ship should be focused on. But indications suggest the lower portion, at least, is well preserved. Arguably, it's what's inside the ship that should be of most importance. Both the Gjellestad and Oseberg vessels contained the remains of a high-status individual, sent off to the afterlife with all the items necessary for the next life. What will be found inside this one is anyone's guess right now, but soon we'll know. Unfortunately, when a trial dig was undertaken last year, it was found that invasive fungus had begun to work on the vessel, rotting away the top layers of the ship. Archaeologists are now in a race against time to save the Gjellestad boat before it's lost to oblivion. Nevertheless, hopefully the remains inside will be intact, allowing archaeologists to utilise all the modern arsenal at their disposal to find out the DNA, diet and lifestyle of the individual or individuals buried here. Not to mention the grave goods that could be found. The ship itself could indicate significant data on ship design and the evolution of ship-making techniques in the Viking world. If you're interested in this sort of thing, I recently completed a 4-part series on the evolution and history of the Viking longship over on my main channel, History Time. From the Stone Age to the present, it's nearly 4 hours long and is extremely detailed. You can go check it out here. In a race against time, specifically against destructive fungi that threaten the survival of this vessel, the date for its excavation has been set for June 2020. Watch this space. Hello there, thank you for watching this video. I really hope that you're enjoying all the history videos on this channel. If you liked it, there are loads more channels you can go and look at. I run a channel called History Time, where you can watch full-length documentaries on loads of different topics. Ancient history, Vikings, Crusades, you name it. My brother runs another history channel called Voices of the Past. It's primary sources from history, word for word, recreated for a modern audience. And we've also got a new channel called History of the Earth, where we're looking at, well, how all this around me came into being. Go check them all out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.